Yo, what's going on guys, Ceice here, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to go ahead and VOD review Cammy and Setty, and we're going to be looking at their performance over the weekend. They just won the FTS Invitational. They played insane, so let's get into the games. Alright, so starting off with literally game 1 here, we've got Cammy and Setty finishing on 368 points. Game number 1, a 6-kill win. We'll go ahead and break this down. So they land mid-map split. I mean, Cammy split, mid-map split. I think you can safely call this a Cammy split. Lots of splash, lots of extra heals. They get a vault. They get, seems to be Chrome Splash, but they don't carry Chrome Splash. They pick to carry heals instead. And they had a really interesting strategy where they literally, we'll see here in a second, but they would literally just base up on this gas station top, and they would use the top of the blimp, or they would just simply base here with a bunch of extra white heals and get all of their surge early on. Pulls over here to like the rock area, the sanctuary zone. So they know they have a lot of holes from the people over in reality, tilted, grave cave, this whole left side of the map. For me, in my experience, like landing at any other spot, you most typically like loot up and focus your metal first, and then like, you know, when you're rotating out of the POI, you focus anything else, right? Like extra wood on the rotates, whatever, brick, whatever. But for them, they both have like max wood and brick and not max metal, because they know that no matter what, once they're here, they have like infinite metal here, obviously, right? So they just get all their mats up, whatever wood and brick that they might want to need, and then they get their metal after. So they're super fast because of that. They did bubble boat rotates up towards like Chrome Jam. I know they did that. They did it a couple times. Apparently that was completely planned, and so I mean, dude, this spot and their movement here is just insane. Like, that is just insane. Jumps off of this balloon, dives on here, lands on this balloon, hits the zip line. Now he's good to go, and then he just flies right back up if he wants to go back up. I mean, this is it. This was the game plan. I mean, they would literally sit here with max heals every single game, max white HP. Right now, you can see Cammy's gathering as much whites as he possibly can. Med kits, floppers, med mist. Brings it all back into the base here, because they know no one's gonna come near the blimp. They know they have this like dead time right now. Normally, this isn't the dead time. Like, for example, I mean, you guys can see teams like here, Rapid and Andalix. They know this isn't dead time. They know these guys over here, Duke and Clicks, they're gonna be like looking at your trade on these hills. This is like, no one else has dead time like them, but they do, because they have such a power spot. Like, no one wants to rotate near them, and that's also why they play in the surge, right? They're able to sit here because they know that no one's gonna go by them until later, and they took advantage of that fully. Here comes the first team rotating nearby, Pars and Rays, and this is game 1, and they have no idea what they're about to run into, for sure. Also, unless it's a visual bug, which I don't think it is, they broke all the bushes here. They made sure that no matter what, you're not going to be sitting in any position nearby them. Like, it's all about this pre-planning for Cammy and Setty for the surge. I mean, this is what is going to make you win these stacked lobbies. If you can do something like this to this level, it's not easy. I mean, I'd say only one team like this is doing it. Like, Cammy and Setty are the only team that is planning this far, but it worked out, right? So they're looking at every possible option, trying to eliminate as many question marks as possible. So they've got Cammy over here on the left side, Setty over here on the right side, absolutely holding anybody over towards this tilted area coming in. I mean, let's see how it goes. Pars and Rays here, right below them. They know that's a threat. They're going to probably group up a bit here. Yep, they do go ahead and group up just for safety. I mean, that's a pretty common thing. I mean, not only that, but the zone is pulling north here. And the great thing about this spot, and of course, I don't want to keep saying the spot, because not everyone's spot's the same. I want to try to make this a general video to learn, because there's a lot to learn here. But this spot is just so handy. Like, you can literally get up to the blimp from this wind tunnel right here. You can jump down from the blimp from this thing. You don't have to fly down. It's like everything is in their favor for sure. And then of course, their middle map, they have a lot of coolers. They've got Chrome Splash to easily rotate and farm early in the early game. I mean, they're uncontested. There's no one near them. It's just everything's in their favor for sure. So while everyone else is pressuring, trying to rotate, trying to get into zone here, they're going to take their sweet time, get as much surge as possible. Right now, they're 230 above with 0 kills. Let's take a comparison to the guys around them. You've got Rays and Pars, who are 2 above, 15 below, actually. Hen and Vortex, 110 below. Let's see Rapid and Andalix. They were also in the same spot. 82 below. You've got all these teams stressing about surge. I mean, look at these guys' heals. They're 94 above, and this is their heals. Like, and their ammo, their guns, their loot. It's pretty bad compared to these guys with max ammo, max heals. Pretty much in a nutshell, Cammy and Setty every single game, they're going to sit here. They're going to hold as much as possible, and they're going to sit in Storm and tank, and then they're going to rotate dead side. They're going to sit here for a little longer here. Make sure they're the absolute last team coming in. Meanwhile, they're 300 above surge. I mean, It's insane. It's kind of wild because you could put these strategies into play in like cash cups and into like other smaller events where there's not 92 up and everyone's trying to shoot everybody and get the most out of everybody. But you really can put it into play in this stage, like right in the Invitational Grand Finals. I think that this kind of shows a bit more to people how you can really plan some crazy stuff in these final lobbies. It's a lot riskier because I don't think we've ever seen Kami and Setty do this before, where they've sat up here. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't watched a lot of their footage, but I just feel like they saved this for the right time and it paid off. And so I think you'll see a lot more players now on. You know, they're going to be doing some crazy stuff like this. So still in Storm, they're willing to tank the 2-tick. They do not care. Look at this. They are fully willing because they're good on Surge. Now, on the other hand, if they didn't get enough Surge, which should be very unlikely with the loot that they have and the position they're in, then this would be obviously game breaking, which I'm not going to break down the other games that they did die to Surge or did die because of it, but I'm sure that this was a factor. Then they get the extra high boost, making sure no one can tag at them. No one around them is going to be shooting them at the sky because they've sat here the entire time. I mean, look, there's literally no one here. This is your game. This is your invitational champions. This is the game winners of this game are sitting in Storm here, completely defying all the strategies that you would think would go into play when it comes to winning a tournament. Notice how they come into zone here. They don't opt to go straight in, white line, straight north, try to get in here. They know this is a bad spot. They know they don't want to be over here. They want to end over here behind, to the right of this pink team, right? They want to be on the far right of the zone. Here's where the shield bubble comes into play. This is game one, ladies and gentlemen. This is game one. So Kami and Setty still in Storm, still absolutely tanking the white HP. They do not care. Macwood is oblivious to seeing them in Storm. Why would anyone be in Storm here, right? Why would Kami and Setty be in Storm? Doesn't even care, doesn't even know. Nope, we're gonna hop on the boat here, throw on our shield bubble, and just rotate straight dead center. No one can touch us. Meanwhile, you've got Duke and them struggling for Surge. You've got Kanata. I mean, they're pretty well above, but a lot of teams are trying to get these tags 58 above. People are about to get ticked. People are about to die. You got these guys on edge. Look at their heals, man. Look at their Surge. Look at their heals, their ammo, their mats. 15 builds on each. I mean, I'm not going to compare every single player because obviously they're not even, some of these players didn't even get top 10. But it is crazy that they've done something like this that no one else did. Like no one else. I think I saw one other team use a shield bubble, and that was after Kami and Setty did it. They really are setting the standard for sure. Notice how Kami gets in zone here. When he gets in zone, instantly builds up on a rock as well because he can, right? He's not even in zone actually, but he instantly layers up, knows that he can get these angles on these guys. Wouldn't be surprised if he breaks one of these trees just to have some extra angles on Peterbot in them. But he knows that this is the hold right here. Like in any custom lobby, you get ahead of 2-3 teams, and that's your entire Surge. 93 above. I mean, this is the name of the game. Still saving that one shield bubble, right? They're gonna save the one shield bubble. So smart by them, man. So smart by them. They could have easily have opted for center zone, right? They could have gone for the spot of Chico and Trulex. They could have gone even further in zone. You know, toss down one more shield bubble, but instead they kind of leave their boat here in a position that's usable, or they maybe even take this one. They save their one extra shield bubble and they use it as a chance to rotate into the center of next zone, untouched, completely untouched. So anytime there's water in zones, it's probably worth to carry shield bubbles now. It's really good because this all kind of plays back to when they were on the blimp earlier in the game and they're sitting up there for the entire time, collecting their loot, collecting their white HP. They're able to read the zone so much better. Like they literally have basically like a storm scout. Is that what it was called? Storm scout, right? They can literally see, oh hey, look, there's more water. We can rotate this way with our boat, do this and this and this. It's really, really easy to calculate what you exactly want to do when you can pre-plan 5 minutes before by technically just sitting there in Storm while everyone else is struggling, building, trying to get Surge. They're chilling. Let's see what happens here. I mean, Aqua and them are spraying in. He's emoting. He's like, oh, I'm good. Come on down. Laggy servers, can't react enough time. They both jump in. I mean, this is the thing with EU that NA players are not experiencing, and I think that some of them, obviously the players that played in this did. These EU people, man, they don't care. They can pick on the smallest opportunities and take full advantage of them, and they do here. I mean, they take down Setty here. And I think that if they were a little bit more healthy going into it, jumped into this earlier, I mean, obviously the opportunity might not have been there, but them only staying at 150 doing this obviously limited them, right? If they're both 200, they probably end up double wiping here. But the fact of the matter is, if you jump in on a team that's not Cammy and Setty here, and let's say you're jumping in on Yumi and Cool, or I mean even Macwood and Kanata, right? Like you're jumping in on a lesser known team than Cammy and Setty, you probably do win this 9 times out of 10, and it's not a bad fight from Aqua and Reason. But yeah, in general, Setty's just playing a little bit too he's playing a little bit too out there when you just have to wait and just let it be, right? But easy wipe for them, very easy wipe. Drops them the shield bubbles. Hey, just in case we get pushed, you put a shield bubble down, make it a fair 2v2. They've already got 1,000 builds each, right? And they just killed a duo that had 84 each, roughly, right? They get extra minis now, they get extra mat, an extra pad, some gun upgrades. Now they're really stacked, plus the surge, right? Cammy got all the surge there. So now they're 400 above, plus 2 kills, all because they were able to stay so far above and get so many tags in the early game on this blimp. They were 250 above while everyone was struggling, and 90 above, or maybe less, right? And then they come in and do the dead side boot rotate. It's all like huge cause and effect, right? Zone's going this way, right? They're claiming this space. They're making sure that no one comes left here. This is so smart. And again, I'm seeing this as a third perspective. I'm not entirely sure if that's the reason. Maybe he just built this box just because. Maybe I'm overanalyzing things, but I'm sure I am at some point. But to build this box here and make space outwards, knowing that they are on the slowest side here, like, right, it's not going to expand any further here. They don't stress it. They rotate for free, go back to their old builds here. They put some extra builds out. Maybe that was for a pad. Maybe that's what it was for, and it got blocked. But still, such a great idea to just block off teams rotating this way. If they see builds are down here, they're not going to want to run through here, right? Rather than, you know, you're not putting anything out here and a team runs right over you, or cuts you from the left side here, and then you have to worry about it. But they find a spot to pad, conveniently located right on all of the extra mats that they had. So they went back, got a little bit of a refresh here. Now they're 95 and 117, which is insane for this. I mean, no one is going to be anywhere close to that. Hit the pad. Continues to stay on left side, just like how I've mentioned in many of my videos, right? They're going to want to stay on the left side of zone. They're not going to cut across. They're obviously a smart team here. And they're on a high layer here. And they're staying relatively quiet. I mean, they know that they definitely could be looking at height here. They know that height's, you know, someone's on high ground here. But now's not the time, right? They know that. Lots of people have pads. People are going to get refreshes soon. They got in here. Simply built one box out. Boom. High padded. Pretty textbook, right? Land on left side again. Continue to stay on the side. They don't pad through the zone here. They don't pad around and go straight through the center and try to land in the center here or land front. They land on an elevated layer on the left side of zone here and use their mats. Let's see what they do when it comes to layer congestion. I mean, this is me watching it live here, but now they've kind of ran into a problem. A team has gotten in front of them. They're in wood here, and let's see what they do. They opt to layer change. They go up, cut back across. I mean, height is absolutely just not pressuring them at all as of right now. They're still getting established, and there continues to be some blockage here. Cammy gets a fry on height. He knows that. Still using wood, right? Using wood as much as possible. Gets to front side, right? So he uses wood from the back till he gets to the front, right? This is all cheap. No one's gonna. This is gonna be in storm in like half a second, right? He knows that. Then he's like, okay, you got a fry on height. All right, I'm gonna start building hards now. I'm surprised he didn't put like a floor here. I feel like that's a little sketchy, right? Could have definitely hurt him here. But now he's gonna shoot from the back of zone here. Also, I'm quite surprised he didn't try to shoot it out from here. But again, they're still pretty fresh. They're gonna go for this floor right here. But hey, that's what I've talked about before with my teammates. That's what I've talked about before in future future videos and other videos. It's all about just putting that pressure on height and just the war of attrition, right? You're gonna completely, you know, every few zones that you spray them out, it's gonna continue to lower their mats, lower their mats, lower their mats. 70 builds each, or 70 builds total. What am I saying? Squeezing them, 1 build, 2 build, just from that pressure that they've been able to put up for the entire like 1.5 zones. They've been able to shoot at them the entire time, and Bino and Queasy just have not been able to put enough pressure because they aren't playing their mid game the exact same way that Cammy and Setty are. They're not playing it on easy mode. They're playing pretty similar to everybody else in the lobby, except for they just got zones and got really good loot. Now they got height with ease. They're not going to even worry about it. Now their game plan is just spray down. All we got to do is pressure second height. Acorn, for example. Spray it down, spray it down, spray it down. Cammy says, alright, I hear footsteps behind me. I'm going to watch the flank. Notice how Cammy does not just group with Setty right away. He's not like staying on him. He's staying back here. He's staying elevated. He's making sure that no matter what, he is the highest person up. And if someone comes up, they have to beat him. And Setty's just, you know, it's just textbook spraying down. Right, again, kind of staying on different layers here for the last second. The absolute last second before he has to jump off. Then he jumps off, right? I'm sure it'll be the exact same thing. If Setty drops here, Cammy's going to stay up to the last second. But this is all just very general. Height. Pulls pretty much back, kind of back through old builds, so now they can just ride the tops here. But they don't have mats for it. I mean, 5 and 3. It's not many, but they played it perfect. They literally played this perfect. Now they can put some pressure down. Absolutely just utilizing the old builds to the max. I mean, there's still 6 teams left. Put as much pressure as possible, use all their builds. Make this 2v2 at the very end the hardest thing possible for the team on low ground here. So now this is where it gets kind of interesting, right? They're both out of builds here, and they're just jumping in on one guy. It's going to always be a little rough. Ends up getting Cammy dead. Setty stays alive, spots Acorn at the very end. And there you go. A little 6-kill win for them to finish off game number 1. I mean, they could not have played that any better. That was probably the best Fortnite that I've ever seen in a single, you know, custom, especially on the stage of an FXS Invitational, LAN event, Grand Finals, all of that. I mean, they literally played this perfect. They deserve to win this game every single time, and that's exactly what they do in their future games. So let's go ahead and take a look at their other wins here. But that was game number 1 of the tournament. All right, so now we are into game number 6 of day number 1. So they won game number 1 of day number 1, and they won game number 6 of day number 1. Finished the day off strong, started the day off strong. There's always a timer, and I think that you as a viewer, you guys will definitely agree with me here, that there's a mental timer with most of these pro players, and even yourself, right? When you're looting a POI and you're playing these custom tournaments, when that zone timer comes off, right, and it's like, oh, we got 3 minutes 55 seconds to rotate in before the storm closes on the circle, right? That storm closing timer, that is the most like tick in the head. We gotta rotate, we gotta go. So it's really interesting seeing Setty on top of the blimp here, right at that tick of the timer, right? He knows that's the time of the moving here. He knows these guys are gonna be on these hills right at that timer, looking to trade. They have 0 search. They just got here. They just built the base. Right, he's still refarming his mats from the base. So they take full advantage of that timer, that little tick in everyone's mind. I mean, you'll see people, I mean, you can look at the map right now. Everyone is still in their POI. You've got Kondo still there, Joneses, you got these guys still looting, you got Shiny still looting, you've got Logjam still contesting, Rave Cave just now leaving. Reality Tree still there. These guys are still looting the Rift Split. People in Coney, people in Grim Gables. Everyone's still in their spot for the next 30 seconds. So it would not surprise me if you see Setty come back up and down here for the next 30 seconds to a minute here. And then there's that, again, remember there's that dead period where no one, you know, everyone's rotated early. Now no one wants to go through Cammy split middle map because they know if they do, they're about to get destroyed. You can't say that this mid-map strat isn't perfect because it is. Their timing is insane. Like they've got it down to the absolute T. They know exactly where they need to be at exact times. They know everything is it's so surprising, man. It's so perfect. It's so perfect. And I think the reason why it's so perfect and it's so repeatable, when you're in the center map, everything is so consistent. There's always players moving by you. There's always going to be something going on. You can pretty much plan for 12 out of 12 games that people are going to come near you and the routes they're going to take, right? Let's say, you know, now it's a north zone here. Rocky's going to go to the left. They probably know that, right? Let's say it's Kondo, you know, it's a north zone over at, you know, Lustrous Lagoon. You know, Kondo's going to rotate dead side and go to the right there. They've got it all planned, and you guys can see this like so easily in their gameplay. So Macwood, he's not having any of this. Say, I'm taking this. I want this position. Right? So now this is the first time we're seeing them actually can get contested for this. People aren't letting this happen. They're like, wow, Cammy and Setty, you guys are doing very well right now. I think they were in 2nd or 1st at the time. Macwood's like, no. I'm gonna try this position out. I'm gonna try to, you know, I'm gonna take this out. They said, okay, take it. We got the best side anyways. We can still get to the blimp. We can still get jumped down from the blimp. We can block you jumping down. We can do all that. We don't care, man. Have it. All right, now North Zone goes. We'll probably also see Macwood and them stay here for a little bit because they know that Cammy said they're going to fry them out the sky. So it puts them in an awkward position. They're like, hey, come right at us. You guys got to come right towards us. You guys take the position if you want it. You're not going to, I mean, Macwood and them were not in this position after this point. I don't think I ever saw them back up here fighting them for this position. They're like, you know what? You guys have it. They got bullied here. They got bullied. Straight up. So they're still tagging kids. Still farming. Use the glider. Get some Chrome Splash. Say, you know what? You have the position. We're out. I wish there was a stat line here because I truly think that's the most shield that they've ever lost in this amount in this time of the game. And that's just simply because they dropped down from this position, right? Like, that just shows you how valuable this is. And not to even mention, again, I'm watching this as a pro player. I'm watching this as someone who studies and loves studying the game like this and picking out all, you know, all these little details. I'm so surprised at what they're doing. I mean, it's insane. So to break it down, if they left here, right? They went straight to the trees. They Chrome Splash. I don't think they had any intention on trying to rotate. They had zero intention on trying to actually rotate out of here and get going. They did this so Macwood would leave. They Chrome Splashed so Macwood would leave. Now look, he's gone. Where is he at? Over here. He's rotating in right now. He's like, oh, Cammy and Setty, they're gone. Nice, dude. Let's go. That was perfect. Nope. We're still back here. We're still in Storm. We're doing our thing. We're going to get all our heals back. We just baited you straight out of our position here. They're going to sit here. They're going to tank meds. Get all their white HP back. Get all their mats back. All their heals that they may have lost. Everything. It's insane, man. It's insane. It's so genius. This game, they're not 300 above. They're not, you know, they're not an insane amount of surge above. They know they got to get in. So let's see how they do this, because this is the clump of zone here that you're going to see in every single game when they're coming in. They know this is the clump. And kind of like how I mentioned earlier, right? Because they're playing mid-map, because they're playing this exact playstyle and it's to the T, right? They can predict this entirely, right? It's not I'm not saying it's difficult to say that, hey, this side of the zone down here is going to be congested, but they don't have to worry about like this side being more congested than this side of the river, right? Like one game this could be more congested, the next game this could be more congested. It kind of just depends on the, you know, the holding routes of the players here, how well this team did or how well this team did in holding and funneling the lobby in a direction. They don't have to plan for that. They don't have to leave it up to hope and RNG. They literally can just say, hey, this whole side, this whole area, this whole bottom area right here is going to be congested no matter what, even if it's, you know, heavy congestion or light congestion. You know, we're just going to go to the side here. We're just going to rotate right by. We do not need to mess with that. Not a single bit. Still, look at this. I mean, they use the blimp, get to the next blimp. Now they're like, oh yeah, here we go. This is what we need to do. We're going to tip more white HP, tank some more here. Sit on top, hold you guys. You're not getting in without getting tagged here. Not a single chance. Go to the next blimp. Blimp, blimp, blimp. I keep saying blimp, but I mean balloons. That was a little sketchy, I'm not going to lie, but worked out. They definitely picked the right timing here. Now they're in a perfect spot. Not to mention that this has helped them pick up so many more kills from people needing Surge. Because if you really think about it, the kills that you get in these tournaments is almost always off of people needing Surge. Like, I can't exactly see everyone's, you know, mid-game kill rate, but I can assure you that when they do get kills, it's because either they need the Surge and they kill the team, or the team that, you know, needs Surge is keying them and they get free 2 kills. And so they're taking full advantage of already being above Surge, sitting in Storm, seeing these guys psycho, like Jamper and Peterbot, psycho for Surge. They know they need it, so they're like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna shoot you in your back, free, give me that. They got the zip line. They've got their entire metal base here, right, up on an elevation, highest pretty much in this area, right? They're on level with these guys over here. Not even, these guys are lower than them, right? So very, very elevated. Plus they have the blimp. They want to use that. Yep. Key thing to note, they didn't just go randomly, right? We got these guys padding. They don't go early, they don't go too late. They go at the right time, right when everyone else is rotating. So that way Epic Whale, Fatch, Thomas, Mino, all these guys, they're looking down there. Plus, no one's really going to be looking this high unless you're Epic Whale. So they do get shot at, but nowhere near as bad. They're going to utilize the fact that they weren't on edge, right? They weren't in the clump, just like how they were in game 1. I mean, this happened to be this very luckily here. But, again, they weren't on the edge. They weren't in the clump, so they could rotate a little later. And they opt to go for the dead-sided Storm here. They opt to go all the way deep in Storm where no one could have been, right? Look at them. All the way over here. No one was here 30 seconds ago. They couldn't have been here. It was in Storm. So now they're here. Look at this. They look at their mats compared to the rest of the lobby. Like, let me just go around real quick. Just take a look at the bottom number here. 71. 0. Did we just see, is that right? Did we just see 0? 0. 119. Pretty good, right? 48. 5. 50. 61. Right? 13. 37. 5. 27. 22. 85, 58, 13, 45. I mean, look at this. The entire lobby is such low mats compared to their 135 and 134 with 200 AR ammo and 300 AR ammo, right? I mean, we can go back and see all the ammo as well, but look at these guys. 12 bullets, 13, 18 bullets. Like, some of these guys have obviously 350, whatever, but again, 41 bullets on King. Plus their need surge, plus they have low heals. They've got max everything because they're playing this game so perfectly. It's insane. So I didn't exactly see what they swapped out, but it is really funny to mention that they do have shield bubbles again, and they are still holding them. So because they're playing their mid game so perfectly, because they're playing their early game so perfectly, they're able to hold these utility items that no one else has in the lobby. No one, unless you're Shambles, is carrying shield bubbles. But these guys are like, hey, our early mid game is so perfect, we're not going to get shot more than 100 damage. We're not going to take any damage, right? No one's going to hit us. And if they do, we just recharge our heals, switch them back up. You know, we can carry these funky utility items and save 200 builds, 300 builds on moving zones. Or we can boat rotate and save 500 to 1,000 mats, right? We can stop the server focus. We can shield bubble and push a team for surge. We can, you know, they can do so much with shield bubbles. They're such a handy item that no one can pick up but them, right? So it allows for those one-off scenarios that are super, super clutch. So they get a good zone pull here. They opt to instant rotate, just like they did in game 1. They're like, you know what, we're going to go straight away. Instead of sticking on low ground here, right, they opt to elevate up a little bit, get on a little higher layer here, get off that low ground. Pretty smart, right? They have so many mats, way more than they've ever had before, right? Way more than they had in game 1, rather. Land right on the house here, which just so happens to be directly in the zone. So they were literally able, because they got in high position, because it pulled down into a valley here, they had so much glide time, right? And maybe they knew this exactly, but they were able to get directly into the zone here off of a 1 pad. They didn't have the double dip. They just right on in. Still have 2 pads, still have a bunch of builds left. They opt to make some more space deeper in zone here. It's interesting to note that they don't go this way, right? They don't just diagonally go into zone. They don't go deeper into zone like you'd imagine, right? They go deeper, but to a side, right? They're going to the right side of zone here. Say that every little micro thing they do is planned to the T, right? They're going to the right side of zone here because it's more dead, right? It's more of a dead side, rather than going out to the left here and going into the congestion or going, you know, going out this way, right? This is more congested for sure, right? So it's safe to say that these guys are doing everything intentionally. Now we're out of the congested side, right? They didn't want to pad right here. They didn't want to pad here. They, you know, they want to get a little bit of distance, especially since they have some good mats, right? Get some good distance, get some good surge here. Now they know, since they didn't pad right away, right? They didn't pad over here. They didn't pad back here. They're not going to get blocked. No one's above them. No one's going to pump them going for this. They're going to have a free pad and a free chance to look at height. So they do. They hit the short pad right onto the same layer pretty much, continuing the tarp out. And now they're getting pressured by height. Right? What are they going to do? Oh, I'll just throw a shield bubble. Oh, what are you going to do, height? I'm going to throw a shield bubble. Now they're going to regroup, reset. Not only this, they can run for free. Or pad for free, right? This is the sketchiest time right here. Right here when you hit a pad, 1 Ranger shotgun, boom, pumped. Something to note as well, again, because everything is seriously planned down to the T, right? They didn't just low pad directly in front. Even though they have a shield bubble, even though they can't get shot from the front, they're still going to pad from the side here. They're still going to block this angle. So height literally has no angle, even if there was no shield bubble. They are that consistent on every possible little thing, right? So they're going to hit this pad. They're going to come out to left here, continuing to stay on the left side of zone here. They're going to opt to land a little lower and go straight up. Get off that lower layer there. They do not need to be down there. They honestly probably, I'm not even lying, they honestly probably see their skins and they're like, okay, that's VZ Quino, right? Okay. Like, they've got a lot of splash. Okay, that's VZ Quino. Most likely, we could assume that. They honestly probably do that. And they know that, I'm not saying they know, but I wouldn't be surprised that if they know that Vino and Queasy are on high ground, that they know they're probably lower mats than normal, because they know that VZ and Quino 50-50 height. They know that they land on height in first movings. They know that they like to play aggressive for it. And so that, you know, in return, they get the high ground, but they come out with less mats. And so Kami and Setty know that very well. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's a part of their strategy and their read when it comes to these mid games. They get a kill on Epic Whale, even though they don't need it. They probably have the most mats in the lobby here. We go around here. We got 1, 13, 4, 1, 14, 10. I mean, this game This is Cammy, so you got 40 on each, right? They've got the most mats in the entire lobby. No one is near their mats. Nobody, not a single person in this lobby is near their mats. They can do whatever they want. They control this lobby entirely. They control it entirely. You're not touching them. It's like, hey, you know what? We're gonna use our 40 builds here. We're gonna continue to get ahead here and look back. And that's the greatest thing. When you have mats like this, when you have even like 10 extra builds than the rest of the lobby, when you know you have more mats than them, you can just get ahead like this. This is free picks right here all day. This is perfect. Every single game they can do this. Oh, pick up a kill here, pick up a kill there. This guy's 1 HP. Oh, kill Reet. I think Reet kills Boom. Yep, get a kill there. I mean, they still have like 60 builds. Oh, here, guy walking above us. They know height is shambles. They're not spraying them. They're walking above them. Their comms is literally just keep tarping. Just keep going in a straight line. Don't do anything risky. No one has anything. Literally no one has anything. And again, you can look at this in a third perspective, right? Like from my view, you can see that it's literally just pulled north, 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 north. I really do think that Cammy and Setty are so aware that it's pulled this way, right? They're not talking about this. They're not saying in the team comms. They're like, okay, hey, look. These moving zones have continued to pull north. That means people don't have mats. They're not saying that, but they both know. They're like, hey, wow, it's gonna keep going north. If it keeps going again, they know if they just tarp for like an extra 10 seconds, no one's gonna have a single build because it just keeps on pulling. They're not even getting any refarm. It's not going back a single bit. It keeps on pulling. I mean, you guys can see this. So they know, hey, we're just gonna keep tarping. Not a big deal here. We don't need to rush anything. We don't need to try anything. Yeah, kind of has to take an aim duel here. Tries to get his teammate. So good, man. So good. Even in a pressure situation, he's like, all right, look. Hold the angle. Hold the gun out. Can I get to my teammate? Oh, can't. That's fine. Gets a kill on Acorn. No big deal. I'm pretty sure it's just 2 solos left. So, and they just win the game. Dude, after watching just 2 games so far, just 2 games. I mean, there is so many small things that they do perfect every single time. If I was Cammy and Setty, I would feel disrespected that they were put into a lobby with these type of players. Like this seems like they are playing pubs. This seems like they're playing opens. Like you guys saw their reactions, right? They would literally win a game. Doesn't matter how many kills, 6, 10, 2, 5. Doesn't matter. They win a game. They're like this. Good job, man. Good job. Let's go next. They don't care. They do not care. This is so easy for them every time. It's so repeatable. They won 4 games on the biggest stage. Let's go ahead and hop into game number 3. Their win number 3. Sorry. Their win number 3. I don't know exactly what game it is, but we're going to go ahead and hop into that one. So let's go. I don't know exactly the statistic, but it was given that Cammy and Setty in moving zones were the highest material like together. They had the most mats on average throughout the entire tournament. And that just shows through their entire mid game, their entire early game. It's literally perfect. And it's also kind of funny because normally, like any of my other VOD videos, any of my other educational videos, I'm like never breaking down the early mid game. I'm never really showing this because it's pretty boring, right? It's cash cups, it's maybe a finals lobby. It's not that big of a deal. But for them, it's everything. For them, it's their entire game plan. It's if they execute this perfectly, they get an end game with the most amount of loot. I don't think we've seen them on low ground once this entire tournament. They will not touch that. Pulls back to them. Oh, right into their old tarp here. Perfect. No. Pat for height. No one's on it. One guy is. He's a solo. And free height. Right? Like, they just... Again, they wait and wait and wait and wait and wait until they literally have the most mats in the lobby. Let's just go ahead and see. They just took a height take, right? They just padded up. They have 26 and 40. Let's see. We got 5 builds on a dead teammate. 1 build on a dead teammate. 34 builds on Scented and Cold. Like, these guys are pretty stacked. They're on ulti low ground, as you'd expect, right? You'd want them... the most mats are going to be on ulti low and high ground, right? So, that's it. You got 0 builds on a dead teammate. 10 builds. 4 builds. I mean, that's the lobby. And it came down to a 2v2. I mean, textbook win, textbook early, mid, late game, everything was perfect. I mean, there's really nothing to look at the very end there. It just quite literally came out to trading, and I think that they know this. that most of the times, if you go to a cash cup lobby, right, you know, to trading, and I think that they know this, that most of the times, if you go to a cash cup lobby, right, cash cup finals, opens, the elite finals lobbies, those type of lobbies where they're stacked, but they're not like this stacked where it's like FNCS grand finals stacked, right? LAN event stacked, like invitational stacked. Like these are different type of lobbies. You can look at those lobbies and you can say, hey, the cash cup styles, like these open styles, right? Even if they're kind of stacked still, it's most likely going to come down to a 2v2v2 or 2v2v2v2, maybe a couple solos here and there. Maybe it's a 2v2v2v1, right? Like there's a couple more teams alive. But when you're playing in these stacked final lobbies, it's literally like if you're one of the last duos alive, you're gonna, you know, in the final zone, top 10 teams, if you're one of the last standing duos that's somewhat healthy, you're gonna win the game or place in the top 3. And they know that, right? They're like, oh, every game they've won has literally been a game where like the final 5 is 5 solos and they're one of the duos left. They're one of the 2 duos or the only duo left, right? So they know that. They know that they can just play it slow. Once they get in height, it's free. Boom. Everyone else is going to be a solo. There's no way they lose a 2v1. It's a free win. And that's why when you see them celebrate, they're literally just like, good job, man. You did good. You did good. We got 5 more games left. We're going to win all 5. They said that on stage. They're like, let's just keep going. We got 4 more games left, you know. We want to keep winning here. And they did. If they didn't get contested by queasing them and they didn't like die in the mid game or whatever they ended up doing in their final game, they would have won by 100 points on the biggest stage possible. Like if that doesn't just show you, I don't know what does. Like these guys are perfect, man. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I surely enjoyed watching Cammy and Setty absolutely dominate these lobbies. I might make a part 2 of this video. We'll see. So if you guys want to see that, drop a comment down. Let me know. I can break down some more of their games. And yeah, later.